The widow's curse. A grieving woman's pain awakens a supernatural force. The wails of the mourners fill the compound like an ominous chorus, their voices rising and falling with the weight of sorrow. Nena sat at the center of it all, her body draped in a black wrapper, her face streaked with tears and dust. The love of her life, Obinna, was gone. Dead. His death had been sudden, unnatural. One moment, he was strong and healthy, laughing as he ate his evening meal. The next, he clutched his chest, eyes wide with terror, and collapsed. The village healers whispered among themselves, unable to explain what had stolen the life from a man so full of it. Now, as tradition demanded, Nena was expected to mourn for 7 market weeks. She would be confined to the house, forced to wear only black, her hair shaved clean to show the world that she was now an empty shell of a woman. But as she sat there, staring at the freshly dug grave of her husband, she felt something deeper than sorrow creeping into her bones, rage. They said it was the will of the gods, that her husband's time had come. But Nena did not believe in such convenient explanations. Obinna had been everything to her, her joy, her strength. They had no children, and now, she had no one. The world had turned its back on her, and the gods had stolen her happiness. As night fell and the mourners departed, Nena remained by the grave, whispering to the earth. If the gods would not fight for me, then let something else hear my pain, she muttered, her fingers digging into the dirt. The wind picked up, rustling through the trees as if the earth itself was listening. Then came the whispers. Soft at first, like the rustling of leaves. Then stronger, surrounding her. A chill ran down her spine, but she did not move. Who hears my pain? She asked, her voice steadied despite the fear calling in her belly. The ground trembled beneath her, and a voice, neither male nor female, yet as ancient as the earth, answered, "We do." The awakening. The days that followed were filled with strange occurrences. At first, it was the wind, howling through the compound even when the air was still elsewhere. Then the shadows, dark shapes that moved when no one was near. Nena's mother-in-law, a stern woman who had never approved of her, muttered about curses. "It is a grief," the old woman said. She must accept Obinna's death and let go of this darkness. But Nena did not let go. She spoke to the wind. She whispered to the shadows. And they answered. One night, as she sat alone in her hut, the air grew thick, charged with something unseen. Then, from the darkness, a figure emerged. It was tall, its body cloaked in mist, its eyes glowing like embers. "You have called us," it said, its voice both a whisper and a roar. Nena did not flinch. "I want justice," she said. The figure studied her. Justice, or revenge? Nena hesitated. She had never thought of revenge, but now that the word had been spoken, it settled deep in her soul. "Tell me what happened to my husband," she demanded. The figure lifted its misty hand, and the air around them rippled. A vision formed, Obinna, sitting in their home, laughing. Then, a shadow moved behind him. A hand, quick as a snake, dropped something into his food. Nena gasped. "Poison," she whispered. The vision shifted. The figure turned, and Nena saw the face of her husband's killer. Her mother-in-law. The curse unleashed. Nena's heart pounded as she stared at the vision, her mind refusing to believe what her eyes had seen. Her mother-in-law, the woman who had grieved so loudly, who had torn her clothes in mourning, was the very one who had taken Obinna's life. "Why?" Nena asked, her voice shaking. The spirit answered, "Greed. He planned to move away, to take you with him." She feared she would be left with nothing. The revelation shattered something inside Nena. A deep, all-consuming fury replaced her sorrow. She turned to the spirit. "Give me the power to make her suffer." The figure loomed closer. "There is a price," it warned. "I will pay it," Nena said without hesitation. A gust of wind surged through the hut, and Nena felt something cold and ancient settle into her bones. The shadows called around her, whispering secrets only she could hear. The next morning, her mother-in-law woke to find her goats dead, their bodies twisted unnaturally. The following night, the woman's food turned to ash in her mouth, no matter what she ate. Then, she began hearing Obinna's voice, calling her name in the dead of night. By the fourth day, she was a trembling wreck. Please, she begged Nena. Something is haunting me. Nena only stared at her, her eyes darker than they had ever been. You took my husband. Now, something has come to take you. That night, the old woman fled the village, screaming that the spirits were after her. No one ever saw her again. The price of vengeance. With her husband's killer gone, one would think Nena would find peace. But peace never came. The spirit still whispered to her at night. Shadows still moved in the corners of her home. One evening, as she sat alone, the misty figure returned. You paid the price, it said. Nena frowned. What price? The price of calling upon the darkness. It does not leave once invited. Realization dawned on her. The spirits had not just granted her vengeance, they had claimed her. She had become their vessel. From that day forward, strange things happened in the village. Crops withered when someone angered Nena. Fire started without cause. People whispered her name in fear. She had become something more than a widow. She had become a curse.